Well, greetings, everybody. We are indeed live on audio. That's my response to the key that just came through. We just spent an hour playing around with audio. Not here. No, we got this one fixed, but somewhere else. And oh, good job we don't use audio in the virtual world, is all I can say when you're dealing with 3-minute lags and such like. No such stuff going on here. We're here with a quick talking picture show for you. And Inworld Review, we are a show that's focused on the hypergrid. The hypergrid is the network that connects most all virtual worlds that are actually authored with the Open Simulator software platform, or hardware platform too, this sort of thing. And the hypergrid connects them all together. So this show is involved with people, places, and arts, basically, on the hypergrid. You can log in on any grid that you want to make your home, and you can immediately jump across all sorts of other grids. It's rather similar to that. Really, it used to be it's an archaic program now called Second Life, and he did a similar sort of thing, but you couldn't hypergrid anywhere. You jump with a teleport, and you just hit a big wall when you got to the edge of the walled garden. And, so this is the new open frontier. That good old high street of the past can stay where it is. Thank you. Yes, I'm in one of those moods, aren't I? Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. I'm Mal Burns. I'm your main host. The giggling fit beside me, to my left, is my wonderful co-host, Tosha. I've got it wrong now. Thirza Ember.
Here I am, standing in for Tosha this week, and no German will be spoken. I'm sure you're glad to know, and it's great to be here, Mal.
Yeah, I've had 2 weeks, of course, of co-hosting with Tosha, so you got to watch out; she might take over. Can't have that.
I'm watching my step.
Yes, indeed. And on my other side, of course, I've got James Atlloud. He is the veteran of everything that involves sitting, but he also enjoys fiddling with the knobs. And he has knobs for audio, he has knobs for video, and he has knobs for soundboards and special effects and everything else, basically all the technical stuff. So welcome, James. I try and remember that phrase. With big knobs comes a lot of power.
Yeah.
The other way around, yeah. Okay, and we're also joined on the good old city here today with Foxx Bode, who we'll be talking to in more detail after we got our preliminaries out of the way, but I will welcome him here anyway to start with. So welcome, Foxx.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Right. Well, Foxx will be talking about some of his own things, also some of the things he's done with admin and stuff on this big group we're on, in fact, but we'll let him talk about that when the time comes. Meanwhile, I guess we're going to start off where we normally start off with Foxx. With Thirza. I don't know who's who today, do I? With Thirza and our regular little visit to the hypergrid happenings.
Yes, hello everybody, and I'd like to introduce myself. My name is James Atlloud. Oh no, hold on a minute. It's Thirza Ember here. And I'd like to welcome you to Hypergrid Happenings once again. And this week, there's a lot happening once again on the Hypergrid. The first thing I'd like to mention, this kicks off tomorrow. It's the Littlefield anniversary. This is their 11th year as an independent grid. I remember them, I'm sure some of you guys do, when Littlefield was an enclave here on OSGrid. But they formed their own separate independent grid. It's very stable, it's an interesting place, lots of wonderful regions. The Safari has been there many, many times. And they have a great lineup of events happening beginning tomorrow. They have Rogue singing, There's a wonderful sim with all kinds of little displays that show the various builds that they have there. They have a wonderful space museum. I think you know about that. Of course, there's a Tesla place. They have a Doctor Who museum, which is really interesting, and on and on and on. So many different really interesting items there. So it's a really interesting display. Even if you're not a resident of the grid, I encourage you to go. And beginning tomorrow, I think it's about a week or so, 10 days of celebrations over on Littlefield. Really easy to find. The region name is Littlefield Anniversary. And another thing that's coming up this week is a special event for Ange and Nani, who every year make or rather 3 times a year, make a hunt for people to go on and get prizes. This year it's called Dublin. It's really pretty sim. It opens on the 3rd. In fact, we're going to have a sort of a special safari mix-up for those who want to come along and jump over together to do the hunt, because it's always fun to do it as a group, because you can cheat and people can help you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
This one doesn't have that. You remember the famous HUD with the very cryptic pictures?
Oh, yes.
It was quite hard. This one's a lot easier, I'm told. So, but the prizes are just as good, so it's definitely worth doing that. You'll be able to get to the sim from April the 3rd, and then the sim will close on April 15th. So, if you're interested in hunts, if you like prizes, and you're looking for something Eastery to do, this could be for you. Another thing that's happening, this is on Thursday, and I'm really, I feel like all you gentlemen should get involved here. I don't know if you read Spanish, but basically we're being invited by Blanca Nieves to bring the sexiest man we have in our entourage. There's a prize for the lady who brings the most sexy gentleman with her.
Just avatar companion, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you have to be, officially a companion. You just have to bring them. The very last line of this sign, which is in Spanish, it says you can bring them by dragging them there by their hair, by a leash, or by the hand, or however you wish. So, gentlemen, watch out.
Watch out.
You may win a prize for a lady in your life, and this is happening right here on OSGrid. The name of the region is Dreams Village, and they speak 3 languages there. They speak Spanish, Portuguese, and translator. So you can't really go wrong with that. The next one up is, of course, happening on Thursday also. This is over on Pangaea Grid. It's a steampunk party. As you know, Toots Zabelin, she's a great builder. She's always coming up with new ideas, and she's built the steampunk region, and this is the opening, and this will be on Thursday. It begins at 10 a.m. PST, which is 7 o'clock in the evening here in Europe, so quite an early start, but definitely going to be something worth having a look at. And finally, I'd just like to remind everybody that the Opensim World's Fair continues to have meetings. They had one yesterday, and I'm sure there's probably one next week too. If you have kind of fallen out of the loop of the meetings that they're having for people interested in either buying some land there or contributing some kind of art to the event, or kind of getting involved in the way that they're figuring out all the technical and practical details. If you'd like to do any of those things, they're very open to volunteers and assistance and friendship. And you can find them in 3 places. Go to their website, which is opensimworldsfair.com, or look for them on Facebook, OS World's Fair. You can get them on Twitter and even on Discord. So those are all really good places to find them and be part of this event, which is really not going to come into fruition until next year, but worth getting involved right now to be in at ground level. So finally, just to remind everybody, if you do have a special event, a project, perhaps you're going to hold a special party, you have an opening, you teach a class, any of those kind of things, and you would like us to speak about it on Opensim World, do let us know, and it will be included in Hypergrid Happenings.
Well, thank you, Thirza, and Hypergrid Happenings indeed it is and was. A couple of extras, of course, that recapping on last week and also Thirza's recent blogs as well. First up on our screen, part of a thing called the Virtual World's Best Practices in Education Conference. Their main event is held in another place. But since we've got Foxx with us as well, it's worth pointing out that they did have a little interstellar art exhibition as part of that conference. They opened on the 25th of March, which was midweek this week, I guess. And I think it's still going on. It's the region, as you can see on the graphic, interstellar art. There's 2 L's in it for some strange reason. And whether it needs to be capital, I don't know. And then underscore exhibitions, and then it's got the coordinates 373-371-2020. And I guess if you're really keen on that, you can pause the video if you're watching it in replay and make a note of it. Anyway, rather interestingly, this blog actually has a few pictures of the exhibits. Myth of Origin of the Luminites on Xiron, very well by Asmita Duran J. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on the names today at this rate. But anyway, a good example of what's there. As is As, yes, familiar with her or him. It's terrible, you know, you read out an avatar name, you don't have a clue, unless you know them, you don't have a clue what their gender is, but never mind. Moving on, Barrett Stockford here, Myth of Origin of the Catalans on planet Teros. I presume that's not the Spanish Catalans or the Catalans who don't want to be Spanish, if you see what I mean. I won't go into that either, have I? Caro Favre, another favourite, Mythic Origin of the planet Pod, indeed. No, I love seeing these weird and wonderful things. It feels like Safari, doesn't it? Even if it's not.
It does, and Caro is such a wonderful artist, and also Azzy. They do such beautiful work, and it's really lovely to think of them representing Opensim over in the other place. That's great.
So this is Sanjeewa Kumara, the planet Chromia. Lots of planets involved in this, aren't they? This is Planet Xylos by Shen Tao. Myth of the Origin of... I presume they will have some kind of brief to create an artwork to do with the planets and invent the planets, and I don't know what the brief was, but they presumably have one. Planet Xenothoria, that's the same, I think that's the same name we saw in the previous one. Myth of the White Tree Planet, well, that is easy, isn't it? Presumably you've got all these lovely text pieces on the ground there that we can't see, but oh, we can see them. It's got a separate slide of their own. Okay, the emptiness of the cosmos, the solitary planet formed, shrouded in mist, and the great white tree at its center. So I'm not going to read the whole thing out for you, but you can quickly scan what's being said there and make up your own mind.
Yeah, those slides are great, you know, considering the conference theme was Mythic Origins. So
yes,
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting a cackle on my speakers. I hope I haven't blown them experimenting with something. Right, yes, and as I say, it's the region on OSGrid is called Interstellar Art, but there's only one A where they join, and there's 2 L's. So don't ask me to figure out that. Anyway, I'm sure you can probably look it up on OSGrid, but just VWBP as well. Okay, so we've got that one out the way, and next one is sorry, that's the next to the right. Sorry. Okay, now some other sad news here. Firstly, Second Life Technologist, talking of the other place, published this one in the week, and it doesn't do a slideshow thing, but he was the first to announce, as far as I know, that Third Rock Grid is actually closing, and I'm just going to click where it said click here and see if I get any. No, just get the same thing, don't I? Oh, it does have some pictures. I just can't slideshow them for you. So yeah, just a few landscapes of Third Rock Grid. Nothing really special there. No, nice and moody there. In fact, there are a lot of them. It's a shame I can't do a slideshow. Oh, I can. Yes. Okay. I'm at home now. Here we go. So these are scenes from Third Rock Grid, which in the near future will be no more. Do we know anything more? There's a blog from you, Thirza, coming up on this subject. Do we have a date for when they're closing or anything? I forget.
It's there's a, well, yes, kind of. There's a possible closure date, which is the 15th of May. But quite a few things might happen between then and now.
So you've certainly got a couple of months if you want to go over there and check out some of these gorgeous landscapes and things. Yes, they do. They do look nice. There's a similarities. That looks like the statue up in Manchester in the UK. Doubt if it is. Right, it's moving along. The outer islands, I guess. Yeah, nice views. What more can I say? Picture postcard, virtuality style, or all right. Right. Okay. I'm just going to. Yeah, here we are. This is Thursday's post on pretty much the same thing. Again with some slightly brighter pictures actually, which is nice. Except I can't make where's maybe that's the only picture on your blog.
It'd be, but I don't think so.
Reload page. There we are, Rocket. Oh yeah. It's oh, I see. It's gone to the highlights rather than the actual page. There we are, 15. Right, okay.
So, well, I took a slightly different approach to what a lot of people did, which was kind of just focus on the fact that they're closing and the whys and the wherefores of that, which is probably a bit depressing and not really something we want to get into. So, obviously, the Safari has visited Third Rock Grid practically from when it started, and many people will remember Zinnia Frenzy. She was a wonderful lady who organized loads and loads of art and musical events especially. And so I took the opportunity to use the blog this week just to kind of remember many of the wonderful places there are, very different amongst themselves. This is the Wright Plaza, borrowing a name from OSGrid, but actually write as in the sense of writing things. And this was a writer's colony where people could come and get inspired to write their novels and short stories. And lots of people came here over the years to kind of make friends and be in a sort of writers and readers group. It's a sim called Da Vinci.
Right. I'll just interrupt a second. I don't know if James is picking up the same distortion on your voice that I am.
Oh, I apologize.
No, I'm just
asking. None at all. Your
okay,
levels are a little low, Lau.
We can carry on. I think it's a fault with my speakers. I'm blowing them out doing all that testing earlier. Okay, it just makes it difficult for me to hear. So okay, so long as James is picking up, fine. So just having a quick flick through pictures that you posted.
So yes, I just what I did was I just went through all the wonderful regions, as you can see, places where you can dance, beautiful communal areas like this one, which is their welcome area. They have events going on all the time. I was with them on Friday night with Lazuli, the grid owner, and a bunch of the other members of the group. I got a very strong vibe from them. They have no intention of giving up and breaking up their group. It seems to me from the few things that we shared that they've had loads and loads of offers of help from all over the metaverse. Lots and lots of people coming up with places where they might be able to move to, or suggestions of maybe how they can resolve their problem. They've got lots of strategies in mind. Obviously, this is a grid that has the Star Trek, Astraeus, the Starfleet colony they have over there. They have the Nuna Art Gallery. There's people like Jay Saylor, who's got his beautiful lake region over there, and lots of residents who really don't want to be split apart because they're all such good friends. So yeah, he's hoping that they can find a strategy. Yes, and they do have now, I guess, 6 weeks until potentially the grid closes. But who knows what might happen between then and now. I'm certainly rooting for them.
Okay. I can't hear you properly at all, so I'm actually just going to go through the rest of the pictures here and let you talk. I know James is recording you fine, so I'll leave it up to you. Okay, the other news you've got here is about the great leap forward for wolf territories, I do believe. So let's see what we can get of this one. Oh, no, just 4 pictures here, including the man himself.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say except for they managed to migrate from one set of servers to another in 15 minutes, which is an incredible feat.
Yeah,
that is quick.
Yeah, and they put out a news press release about it, and Wolf asked me to come over and take a look at his virtual servers in World. There they are.
Yep.
And this is his office, and just was a bit of fun.
And of course, glimpses of his back end there as well,
Right.
which is famous for.
Yeah, Lone Wolf is in chat and he's saying if Mal can't hear us, let's talk about him.
Well, it's not that I can't hear you. I can just hear an awful sort of. It's like you're all talking to a distortion machine. Well, especially Thirza. How about you, James? So you're talking okay? Hang on. Try me.
Testing.
Oh yeah, it's happening to you too. It's
All right.
a cable somewhere going to my speakers. It's got to be. Either that or I've broken the speakers, but we'll sort that out another day. I'm trying to find the right cable while I'm live. That's not a good idea. Okay, so that was Wolf. Okay, so moving forward. Yep, that's it for the other links. Just getting myself a little bit organized here. Yeah, here we are. Okay, before we move on to OSGrid and Foxx, Thirza has also just completed this little video, which is actually looking at the booth regions at the now being built, well, actually all being built really, at the Hypergrid International Expo. So we'll have a look at this, and Thirza can comment as she will.
Yeah, oh wow, I think the music went crazy also. Maybe it's coming through your speakers too, or not sure. Sounds like a little strange. Yeah, just a quick video showing all the many booths that people have provided, and I think you can all agree there's so much variety there within the format of a fairly pedestrian, format of the booth. And yet people have come up with so many different things. Then you can watch the video in its entirety. It has music to it on YouTube now on the HIE Expo. HIE Opensim video YouTube channel. So along with, of course, the video that James made last week.
Lots of booths.
It is, yes. It's just go on forever. I mean, we also had a film Pet Shop made last year, which was, you know, starting at one day and going around all the booths. And you look at the path and you think, oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes. But
Not a
when you
chance.
actually start filming, you realize it's quite a long, winding road, as the song goes. Mercifully, my speakers are fixed. This music sounded as if it had about 50 snare drums all at once.
I can't. The music sounds like it's in a tin can to me, but maybe I just have a bad connection.
Yeah, it's fixed at my end anyway, so that's okay. Oh, that's elaborate. It's given them, you know, they just get a regular booth and it's now mesh, and they've got a limited number of things they can do to decorate it. It's amazing to see how some people have really gone for the decoration. Oh boy, your credits are rapid.
Well, yes. Then I mean, they're really not credits. I just wanted people to realize that there were over 50 separate different grids were involved, and
Awesome.
and I guess about 70 different people contributed one way or another with their projects, their art, musicians, and so forth. So it's really worked out lovely this year, and I think anybody who comes along will get something out of it, because it's hard to sort of encompass all these different projects that are all happening at the same time. You know, it's just kind of the whole of Opensim kind of in one place, if you will. Well,
Yeah.
not even the whole, just a part of it, really, because I
Really?
guess we probably could have had another 100, considering how many wonderful places there are out there.
Wow.
Right. Okay. I'm now trying to remember which order you prefer to see these in, but anyway, back on Thirza's blog here, but actually more importantly, we can come back and introduce our special guest this week, Foxx Bode. Welcome back, Foxx. You have been here before. Of course, I introduced you a little while ago, but welcome.
Thank you.
I've got a few notes here about sort of what we're going to be talking about. I mean, you, although you are not in any way, you know, sort of liable for Opensim or anything like that, you are part of their management
Yep.
now and again. You've also got you've had your own blogs. I believe you still run the OSGrid blog, don't you?
Yeah, I manage the blog, Facebook, MeWe, Stimbaloo, Wiki, some other OSGrid pages.
So how long have you been in Opensim? When did you get here, Foxx? Have you been here for a long time?
Yeah, I dropped out of SL in 2010. I moved over here, and I was just crazy about building, so that's actually all I did the first like 4 years I was here.
Oh.
Build. 25
So much-
regions.
Because I can.
Yeah,
Kind
so
of
much
thing, isn't it?
freedom.
Yeah.
What attracted you to Opensim after having experienced Second Life?
Well, I had a huge club in Second Life, 4,500 members, DJing every week. It was a hobby that became a job, but a job I had to bring money to. So eventually, I like building more than DJing, so moved to Opensim. It saved me a lot of money as well. Having an own
Yeah.
region in Second Life is like $300. Homestead, full region. Yeah, it was an expensive
Yeah.
trip.
And is that what
This-
drew you to OSGrid? The idea of the community, rather than maybe one of the smaller grids?
No, not really. I actually came here and built. For me, it was like pretty easy to set up my own regions, so it was free. So it was pretty amazing when you drop out of SL and come here and get everything for free. You can do everything
Yeah.
for free, upload everything for free. You have no limits, no restrictions, no building restrictions. You can use prim size all you want, as many prims as you like. I loved
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome.
I know a lot of regions on OSGrid actually are hosted by people on their own sort of computers and things, and then the address is sort of uploaded into the OSGrid. Is that the case with you?
Yes, so is mine for
Yeah.
14 years now.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, it just makes you feel so empowered, doesn't it? You know.
Well,
Well,
especially what a contrast when you come out of Second Life and the tier
Yeah.
and, you know, all the expenses and trying to kind of handle people, the DJs that need to be paid and all the kind of the everyday thing. I can well imagine it seemed like a real, you know, you come home from work and you start your other job, which is
yep.
managing your club in Second Life. What
Yeah,
was
and
your club called in Second Life?
what was Red Dragon?
Red
Like here?
Dragon,
Oh,
yeah, Red Dragon
oh,
nightclub.
cool.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
preceded it here. I dropped my group, gave it to a friend, and just moved over here. And I built a huge club, but
Oh,
I
that's
kept
nice.
building and stuffing it. So eventually I looked into it and it was like 45,000 prims. Not actually useful to use as a club because it lagged your pants off back then.
Up your Lindens. Oh gosh, golly, who's in that picture there?
uh,
That's the old version of the new version. So the old
Yeah,
new
this
version.
is from I think this was the last time we came to see you
yep,
with the safari, wasn't it? And
yeah.
finally, a picture with everybody facing the same way. That never happens. That's
And
miraculous.
somewhat gigantic spliff in your mouth. Look at that is
Yeah.
your mouth, isn't it?
Does that have a story behind it? The
Well,
joint?
I kind of got that from a friend and actually wore it ever since. And it's a really good conversation starter.
Yeah, I
I
think I
should
wore
say
this
so,
somewhere
yeah.
once, probably. So, yeah,
People talk
and
about it. Well,
Nari
and it's
down here.
funny if your sim's broken and nobody can help you, to send you to me.
And
So
then you just say,
go to
"Oh,
go to
sorry,
go
sorry,
to
I'm
the
just a bit out of it at the moment."
go to the guy with the giant spliff and give him remote access to your machine. He'll fix it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
This, I think, is another scene from inside your home there. I've got some video coming up after this of that home.
Yeah, this is the
Can I
backside
ask,
of my house.
what inspired the design of the club? Was there something in real life that inspired you? Is this just imagination, or how
No,
did it
not at
work?
all, not at all. I'm chaotic like hell, so I just start rezzing prims and something comes out.
Now this sim, I remember. This
I,
is
this is not mine.
this is
My
a
wife's. This is my
no,
wife's region,
yeah.
Hmm.
Ah,
Yep.
filled with animals.
that's not actually yours. It's what
No, no,
just a
no.
temp.
It's the
Ah,
minister's built. She spent like a week here, and then never got
right.
in again.
I assumed it was yours because when I was filming, it's attached to yours. So it's sort of. But it's always nice to see different people's things joining together. So blending from one thing to another without
So
you don't
your
realize.
wife, she was in World 1 week. She put these animals on one of your sims, and then she left. And aren't you glad they're virtual animals and you don't have to feed them? Can you imagine?
Yeah, I got plenty of other games where I have to maintain my animals, so that's kind of good here.
Yeah. And there he is.
Yeah. One way to light up the night, so to speak.
Yeah, Dutch vegetables is good.
So
I've had,
I was going to ask you if you find that you do have time to spend on your sims, because I know that you're working as an admin, then you're probably having to do quite a few things like answering people's questions or trying to help out, as you were saying, if somebody's region is broken. So do you find that you're very busy during an average month in OSGrid, or do people kind of leave you alone?
no, it has been busier in the past, but it's quieter than it used to be.
Oh, really?
Yep. Well, more people know how to run sims nowadays. They have, and they can run their own grids. Like back when I started,
Yeah.
nobody knew how to set up a region. Just like a select few people.
Yeah.
So you think we're more independent now? People are more self-sufficient and able
That
to look
and
after themselves.
there's a lot of people that worked on making OpenSim more user-friendly, the developers, but also guys like the guy that made Dreamworld.
Oh,
It made
right,
it
yeah,
easy.
Fred.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right,
it made it
right.
easier. It made it easier for people, which is good. That's OS Grid is actually made to promote OpenSim, so it's great. More regions, more grids, more variety.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's what we love about it, and of course, OSGrid has undergone some big changes recently with that huge asset transfer, which it seems like it made the grid a bit more stable. Would you say? Have you noticed that?
Oh, a lot has changed in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the complete backend, the databases, the cluster, the website, there's loads and loads of changes that have happened in the back, still happening because code doesn't stand still.
And of course, our studio, the one we're coming from right now, is based in OSGrid, and we've been, I forget how many months or years now, but it's been performing more than adequately since we've been here, hasn't it?
And right now, Mal is showing a picture of the man himself, Dan Banner, dressed. I always think he wears that avatar to kind of scare off people who ask him a bunch of questions when he wants to be left alone. Do you think that's true?
No, I don't know. I think he just likes the grungy Dan avatar. He likes it. He's a great guy. He's the backbone of OSGrid, really.
I'm just teasing. Yeah. What would it? Yeah, I'm sure it must be a tough job, because people do tend to kind of dump their problems on anybody who they think is an admin or is in charge. So yeah.
It's not something to be jealous of, I think.
These pictures, by the way, are from the 15th birthday of OSGrid, sort of again on Thirza Safari blog.
Yeah, we're with Mal. We looked back through the Safari blog to see if we could see some pictures, and I think we found the earliest one was that I got to and then was able to blog about was the 7th anniversary. And of course, since then, we're up to 16, and this year will be 17, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
But it's literally about one of the oldest grids on the hypergrid, really. In fact, it may be the oldest still surviving one for all I know. It seems like it's been there forever. And of course, a lot of people refer to it as the developer's grid because it has been, there so long that it was the obvious home for developers when it got started.
Yeah, they still live here. They all their dev meetings here. We test code. And this is the man.
Familiar.
Here he is.
This is God.
Right. So big gods under God. What else can we have look for?
There he is.
Nice colours on these pictures.
I think we've strayed into a different post at this point. That's Lucy's Land, which is also here on OSGrid. But
it's
the same blog post we're on, but you probably covered several things at once.
Yeah, this is Lucy's.
And now, of course, another picture of Fox's.
Yeah,
would you say that's your home? Basically, that picture.
Yeah, that's right.
When I was floating around, I sort of I came across two other bits that looked almost like it. I thought, oh, they just changed the color scheme. But then I moved the camera around, and then there's another one that was different. And then finally I got to this. I thought, that's the one I filmed. Yeah. So, about 3 versions of that one. It's a wonderful building, though. I mean, now we'll switch to the video for this in a couple of seconds.
No, that's correct. Actually, that white build is the stuff I made when I got into OSGrid. There was a 3x3 region, but I lost it in a disk crash. I had a Seagate Barracuda disk, and I had 2 partitions on it.
No.
C and F for some reason. So my backup was on F. And well, my disk and my backup were gone. Then I shipped that disk back to Seagate, got it back 2 years later.
For recovery? Oh no.
Data recovered.
Yeah. That's not cheap.
Wow.
Well, in the meantime, I built the red thing.
That explains it.
I wish Western Digital behaved like that, even if it did take 2 years, instead of just absolving themselves of responsibility, basically, when it was their fault they pressed the button. Did you know that
I
a year or
actually
so
sneaked
ago?
it in. I actually sneaked in the disc with a batch of my dad's broken discs.
Oh, okay.
It can be done. Okay, I'm going to this again, like the when we came to visit you on a safari. Basically, I took this film, so it's about 4 minutes long. There's no music on it, so we just sort of talk over it or whatever. But is it moving? Yes, it is. It's moving. This gives us a better idea of the building. It's got a palace in a sense. I mean, it looks more compact when you view it from the coast, as it were.
That's pretty big.
But when you get into it, it's far less compact. Obviously, I was panning around doing all sorts of things here, seeing if I could find anything else buried in those huge rock cliffs and stuff. But it stands out a mile because the color scheme is that contrast with everything else around it. So it looks like this sort of ultra modern style mansion in a really rustic environment.
Yeah, it's all just old for me. Well, same old, because I've seen it for 14 years. I haven't built much lately, so.
I did think that's very interesting what you were saying about how it took you 2 years to get it back, that your determination and resilience, because that makes me think of what happened, when was it? I think around 2000, what was it, 15, 16, when OSGrid was offline for so long. And for many grids, that would have been just the end, once a few weeks have gone by, people would say, well, it's just either people will find something else to do, or they'll find an alternative virtual world or whatever. But that totally didn't happen with OSGrid, did it? Can you remember back that time and what
Yep.
your feelings were and what happened from your point of view?
That was the previous admin group that decided they wanted to do a data recovery. So they spent a lot of money on it and recovered all data, got the grid back online. It just took a shitload of time.
Yeah, it's incredible that they were able to do it. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, I'm looking over my shoulder at my backups. Do I have them done? Have I done my backups?
Yeah, it's so easy to put it off till tomorrow, isn't
That's
it?
right.
I know that feeling.
Well, back then financing and donations were a lot less, so
Oh yeah.
then there was not really an option to make decent backups and have double redundancy and that kind of things.
Sure.
Donations wouldn't allow it, so.
Oh, right. But from a that's from a technical point of view, and socially from the community point of view, how do you think it affected OSGrid going down like that? From your personal perspective, what did you see happen over those months?
Well, OSGrid has always been a test grid, and they test Opensim development here. So actually, it's always been a beta grid. It could have been wiped. They just chose not to, and keep and save everybody's stuff, which is commendable.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
it did leave them with some corrupt parts, lost stuff, etc.
Yeah,
but it survived.
Not too much.
Yeah,
and then we migrated across the world.
Wow. Yeah, we were
so
talking.
Where are the servers now? Where are the servers now of OSGrid?
In Canada.
Oh, right.
That's quite good.
Yep.
They used to be in Texas.
Ah, there you go. So they're in a cooler climate now. That's probably better for them.
We were talking a
I was
couple
thinking
weeks
that,
ago about how important trust is for running a grid, and that's backing up the data. That's just incredibly important. For all the
in
users.
OSGrid, most users run their own region, so you can make your own backups, OARs, EARs. You can save your inventory.
For builders and creators, definitely, right?
Yeah. And well, Just mind to save them on a different disk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, multiple copies of the same thing, and also that I mean, well, as well as OSGrid, of course. I mean, although this is our main studio here, we got backups of the studio on other grids, you know. So it's a kind of fail safe, you know. If it's down one place, we got a copy somewhere else, and if two are down, then we still got another copy. You know, it would take a major collapse, I think, for us to end up without a studio. So. Yeah, these last two pictures are from July 20 last year, our Sweet 1616. But I've only got two pictures on this. So is that?
Yeah, it's the birthday
You're
regions.
just, yeah, I think you're just looking at the preview. You haven't opened the main.
Oh, of
piece.
course.
That's,
Yeah, it's yeah. We
Yeah,
did
so
it.
I'm curious about that. How did the idea for having an exhibition for the birthday celebration? Do you remember when that began, Fox, and what was the thinking there? Do you participate?
I have no clue who made that up, but it's been there since as long as I can remember,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And yes, I've been there with numerous displays.
It's a wonderful idea because it's such a big grid, and this is a way that I always discover some builder or artist or some kind of project that's going on in OSGrid that I'd never even heard of. So I love to go around and see all the islands because you can people are not pushy in OpenSim. I find it, especially in OSGrid, they tend to be very good at what they do, but they're not boastful so much. So you have to kind of.
They're on their own. They build on the worlds, and well, some people are happy about a lot of traffic. But like I've got my home. Almost nobody
Yeah.
visits there, but I don't care. It's my home. I sit there.
That's
This
right.
picture, of course, is the. I've been here a few times, you know, so we've been interviewing musicians and things. They say, "Oh, come on Friday, I'm going to be playing on OSGrid." So I recognise the stage. It's quite a. This actually isn't the same as as it was then now, but it's very well. The stage is so well organized. It's sort of divided into two, so that you can like have one band on one and one on the other, and then there's little side bits and everything. So it's you know, as auditoriums go, it's fairly simple, but I was impressed by the way the stage is arranged. You know, so you can have one band literally seamlessly moving to another visually as well as on audio.
Yeah, event plazas are pretty old as well, but plazas will always remain as they are mostly. We inherited those sort of as they are, and we modernize them and upgrade them. But
and the obligatory line dances. Something about line dances. It reminds me of sort of turn of the not last century, but the century before. You know, the chorus lines and the showgirls. I suppose I suppose the modern ones come from country music, don't they? It's not something is it in the American Midwest and stuff. You get these barn dances and things with.
Maybe, yeah. I had another question for Fox because I mean OSGrid's quite a big grid and it's a very busy grid because as the motto says, it's the crossroads of OpenSim in many ways. So I was wondering how many admins do you have and what is involved with being an admin? What do you kind of have to do? What is expected of you and what does it mean to you to be involved in being an admin on OSGrid?
Well, I actually got involved with the admin team when Neb and Justin and like the previous guys pretty much left OSGrid, and there was just Dan, Sarah, and Jim, and well, 110,000 users.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
and there's like it's 6,000 active users every month, but there's a lot of new people and there's a lot of questions and a lot of drama calls. You run into all kinds of stuff.
when you come to new users and things, it always fascinates me. I mean, sometimes you find a grid is getting a whole bunch of new users, like a whole tribe coming along from the other place, as I call it. But others sort of just individuals sort of trickle in. Where do you find people have heard about OSGrid in particular, and in their choice of coming in and starting with OSGrid as opposed to any other grid, really? Is it just a reputation that's just stayed around, or do you find you're promoting it a bit in certain areas and you get a certain kind of people? I mean, I know that's a very general, loaded question, but any thoughts on that?
Well, why do you come to OSGrid specifically?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's just a big and old grid, so it's easy to find, and it's free. You can run your own sim. You don't have
Oh,
to
yeah.
host or rent it. So that's the pros of it. But
I'm curious if anybody else has come across this. In Second Life, you'll often hear people think that OSGrid is Opensim, and they not entirely aware that there are other grids. They think that, well, Second Life is this huge monolith, it's the universe. So Opensim is another grid, and this grid is called OSGrid or Opensim Grid. And so I've come across that a lot. So I imagine quite a lot of people who are totally new that come from Second Life, they come to OSGrid because they think this is the only grid there is, basically, which is probably kind of a good thing because everything here is free, and there's a mentality of helping people to stand on their own feet, which has got to be a positive. And it's a very welcoming place, really.
it is.
How many new people would you say you come across in the course of a month or two? Do you come across a lot of them?
Yeah, quite a lot. Well, you don't know who is or are not else, because you always have those. But most people that come here either come from SL or heard it some other way. But most is ex-Second Life residents still. And well, if they come here, they
Yeah.
I was forgetting what I
On the regular path.
forget what I was saying.
I know
Well,
that
no,
feeling.
because it's a huge culture shock, and I imagine they all have quite a lot of similar questions that you get to answer many, many times.
Oh yeah,
about how things work.
yeah, that's why I just write note cards. It's not to be impolite to people or something, but I've told the same story about a gazillion times.
Yeah.
So I write it down in note cards, give them a note card, and if they still need help, I can always like remote in or explain them.
So another question then. So do most people want to figure out how to connect a sim to OSGrid, or are they looking to rent, or are they looking for a free place to stay? Which would you say most people are doing? Or maybe they're not looking for a home, they're just curious and just
Well, that's
tourists.
that's just the thing that has shifted over time. In the beginning, when I was here on OSGrid, like everybody wanted to run a region, and like nobody knew how to.
Yeah.
When I was in the beginning, when I was admin, I also gave a setup class so people could learn how to set up a sim. This is in 2016 or something.
And
James,
now
I was going to ask if James has got any questions for Foxx at the moment.
I was just thinking, does everybody come to us sim to dance? I see a lot of dancing. That's right, on any grid, right?
Well, it's one of the social activities in all the grids mostly.
Absolutely.
When I came in a web grid, actually that's what I did. I built regions 4 days a week, and on the Friday they had the Friday party at D&J's club.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So that's where I hung out every Friday to socialize with other people. That's how I met people, etc. And the rest of the week, I
Me
went back
too.
to my sim to build.
That's
And
perfect.
that exactly was your whole week because I didn't visit anything on the hypergrid. Still don't do that a lot today, actually.
Mm.
But back then there was only that as event, and for the rest there was nothing. When they
Yeah, when I
stopped,
think of when I think of it as being the oldest grid or one of the oldest grids, of course, one definition of that is the fact that it predates the hypergrid. You know, there are a lot of OpenSim, you know, a reaction grid, for example, another early pioneer here. There's no way of jumping between grids in those days easily. It's, you know, and even the hypergrid at the beginning can, you know, couldn't jump more than so many. A glitch in the code meant it couldn't jump over huge distances. But you know, so a
yeah,
lot of this is a historical.
it has come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like in that other place, you know, Linden Labs, don't they? They maintain these, you know, the site of the first prim, the site of Philip's first house, or something like that. You
I've
know,
got a copy of that first prim, do you
The
know?
first prim.
I
Right.
got 1 or 2 copies of that first prim in my inventory.
The plywood one.
Genuine copies. So, thinking of the future, obviously, you're talking about how it's much more stable, thanks to all the work that's been done on the back end. And we should give a shout out, obviously, to who should we give a shout out to and thank? Anybody come to mind?
Here in OSGrid,
Yes.
there would definitely be Mr. Banner because
Right.
really without that guy, this grid would no longer exist, I think.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort in here,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
and there's not just admins because like we have Paela, we have Aussie, who kind of lives here,
Mhm. Yeah.
but you have Jim, Sarah. A lot of people do a lot of different things, and not everything's obvious, not everything's stuff you see. But somebody has to maintain all the plazas, all the rental stuff, all the litter, whatever. So
Sure.
yeah, it's keeps you busy.
you've also brought along, folks, some slides of your own. I'm not sure how many there are, but I think you know how to operate it. Maybe we'll just take a quick break, and you can talk us through the slides that you brought, and then I've got some film we can finish off with as well. So, do you want to move to those slides and tell us what
Sure.
you got?
Well,
Yeah.
this is my home, my humble home. I always say. I'm glad it doesn't need vacuuming. This is an overview of my regions.
Everybody needs a
All
boat
right.
garage. You have to have a boat garage.
Yeah, and jet skis and a yacht.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the 9 regions I built and I lost.
That's a lovely
Ah,
photo.
Yeah,
and
a lot of it.
you've recreated it very similar, really, haven't you? So,
Well, I had a backup of
my,
that palace thing, at least it's sort of the skeleton of it. That's why you see multiple copies in this build.
uh,
This is Red Dragon X, I call it, because it's the
Mhm.
10th version of it. It's just a
ah,
weird
right.
building.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of my film.
I can remember going there like 2013 maybe, and I couldn't. You had so many prims on that sim, I couldn't even walk.
Yeah, it's kind of big and kind of full. It took me
But
like
it's good because you could cam to look at it. So,
it
how
took
long
me
did it take?
I don't know. It was an ongoing effort. It takes me longer to fill it than to build it because everything's huge. All these spaces are huge. Well, it was fun.
And of course, that's a big difference from Second Life when you come in from Second Life, where lucky if you have a parcel, and then you just have as many sims as your computer will take. It's tempting to build.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
they told me no limit, so I didn't hold back. That thing with the dragon on top, that's like the heaviest sim in all my regions.
Ah,
It's especially on the inside. There's loads and loads and loads of stuff there.
Is a lot
But
of it
it's,
prims? Is it mostly prims?
I think 97% of it is prims.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't build meshes or so.
yeah.
So there might be a few sculpties here and there, but
No, that's
not
quite a
yeah.
skill.
I think some of
Yeah.
the rocks and things will be sculpted, from what I can tell there.
Yeah.
even
I
the
really love the use of water. You always have lots of water on your
Oh, yeah.
waterfalls. It's very refreshing. It's very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
even the dragon on the roof is prims.
Oh,
This I
one
built as a showcase for somebody in like 2 hours,
Oh, wow.
and then
And more
I
dragons.
was
2 dragons,
wa-
yeah.
and then I was excluded from speed build by the host.
Because back in the day, that used to be a thing, didn't it? There was a regular weekly event that was speed building.
Yeah,
Do
they still do it.
it?
Yeah, every other
Wow, I
week.
didn't know that.
Yeah, on Recreation Plaza we
I
have speed
remember.
build
Yeah,
and
I remember those. Yeah.
some picture show or something.
So it
Games
looks
in my
like you
case.
went from, it looks like you went from speed building to speed racing.
Yeah, I just snuck this picture in because that's what I like in Opensim. If you teleport around a bit, you teleport into other people's fantasies, and this was some guy that built a huge racetrack. So
Yeah.
so Fox in the Red Bull,
Of course.
why not? This is another overview from Red Dragon, but this is 2010, and if you look, all the big buildings in the back are not there yet, and things haven't moved around. My house is still not there yet.
Yeah.
So I cut these regions and put them together and terraform, etc.
Do you tend to do it incrementally, like bring up one region, do most of the work, then bring up another region and connect it and do the work, or do you bring up all the regions naked and then try and build on the group of them, as it were?
No, I build one, then build the second, and I went from 2 regions to 4, and then from 4 to 9.
Right. I used to do that with a bar file, actually. I just kept on making bigger and bigger. Yeah, it makes sense because, you sort of, and it also brings the fun to, if you've got a whole vast, 4x4 or something and you try and attach it all at once, it just never really seems to fill, does it? It sort of remains a bit of a wasteland. Whereas if you've got a limited space, and then you can incrementally overflow as you need it. So I think it brings a freshness to what you're doing. I mean, as an actual builder, really, I would say.
It's easier to handle single OARs. And back then you didn't have VARs, and I didn't like the mega regions. They had too much little glitches and issues.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a bad rep for a while, although nowadays they seem to be reasonably
VAR regions work well. So fine. Yeah, another picture. Actually, this is the shopping area. There's all kinds of malls and all kinds of stuff underground. There's a photo gallery. Yoring's art galleries in there.
Yeah, that's something I always seem to miss when I'm filming. I'm in the air and panning down and stuff, and I never seem to get underground. It's a lot of work when you're in camera, and it's tricky too because obviously you can't drill under the the sea level. So if you're going to have underground, you've got to really.
Well, it's like it's a maze down there. It's very, very big because it's 2 sims wide. So
yeah.
Oh.
And this is what I do normally, hang in LBSA a bit. In this case, somebody was fallen asleep in his chair, so we piled on him and made a screenshot.
Waiting for them to
That's
wake
funny.
up.
We
Wow.
were sure because he was snoring on voice.
Oh, wonderful! I've heard that. I've heard that happen
Okay.
from time to time. It doesn't happen that often, but sometimes they fall asleep with their
That's,
voice.
that's like a VR
Yeah,
chat moment.
it was like
Yeah,
really funny.
yeah,
Sometimes it's spontaneous stuff happens there. People that like come in with their guitars and start to sing on
yeah.
voice, or
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
we got the LBSA band that pops up every once in a while, which people go play instruments, or
Oh,
someone pops into DJ. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think it's very
You
important
never
to
know.
Down again, you
You
down.
know, exactly. It's always different there, but I think it's important to, if you think how old LBSA Plaza is, it's just kind of the foundations of the grid, and to know that it's still a place where there's plenty of life, there's plenty of laughter. It's a place that if somebody has a problem, they can come over there and hopefully they'll run into somebody, perhaps yourself or Dan or Ubit or many of the other people who are there present who are not. Perhaps don't have such famous names, but they also have plenty of knowledge. And it's great to think that there's this place in Opensim where anybody can come in and ask a bit of help. Um, Generally speaking, free advice.
Yep.
Tends to be free in Opensim. um, and kind of try and solve their problems and at least share them, even if they're not immediately solved. And to know that, that it's one thing to go on some kind of forum and ask a question and maybe nobody answers you, but it's a wonderful feeling to go to a sim where there's a bunch of people and you can kind of get at least commiseration, even if maybe they can't fix whatever you're dealing with.
Well,
And
we try
also,
to help people
whenever
where we can.
and also whenever I land at the the main landing region at OSGrid, which has all the gateways to various other regions, there's always people there. It's a landing region that just never is empty, and people are very friendly. They'll start chatting to you whether you want them to or not.
Exactly. Very nice.
And you don't always get that kind of reception. Other grids, they have a welcome area, but there's, it's built to show you signage or whatever. There's rarely somebody else arriving with you, or actually using it as a hangout. I remember the Great Canadian Grid did have that. They had this wonderful hut sort of thing, which was their landing region, and people did hang out there. So when you logged in, there were people to chat to, and the big barn and stuff. But there's so many grids, I'm sure you know, Thirza and James, when you visit them and you automatically go to the welcome sim, and great welcome. Where are the folks? And it's grid. It's certainly when you go to one of the major spots. There's even the shopping places. You quite often bump into one or two other avatars. So it's anything but a ghost town, which there's a great advantage to non-crowded places actually, but OSGrid definitely has an active
But there's
population.
another factor in that, because I was talking to a grid owner, I won't mention who, and they were saying that they want to develop a sort of a culture of welcoming on the welcome sim. So they were asking people, could you volunteer to come and hang out here so many hours a week and so forth and so on. And it was very clear from what the residents were saying. Oh, lovely people, but it was just it wasn't going to happen really. That it was just too complicated. It was going to take time out of their day that they want to be on their own sim creating, and they just don't really feel like they want to hang out there. But LBSA, it's a sort of spontaneous community that has developed and endured all this time. And that's the incredible thing. I think it's always been like that for so many years, and it's not something you can manufacture. It happens because there's a friendship there, I guess, and it's a fun place to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I landed there. I was kind of stuck there.
Well, before we start wrapping up, because we kind of still keep on talking here, I've got a 6-minute film which is a bit different. This is actually the the grid auction that you have on OSGrid. Now, this one was in September 2022. So I'm trying to remember if there was one and if we filmed it since then. But I thought this is worth getting back to because it's just a nice idea. And if I recall, the funds from this auction were really going to support OSGrid, weren't they?
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about how you came up with the idea for the auction and how it works, Foxx?
Well, OSGrid was, like I said, after the crash, not doing too well on funding. So all kinds of ideas came up. I'm not sure who made up the auctions. I think it was Avia, if I'm not mistaken, back then. Avia Bon.
Sure.
Or it was Albert. I don't know. I don't recall. It was a good idea though, because people like to chip in and help build something nice. And this auction just raised the money that we use for the servers actually.
So can you explain how, because everything in most places in OpenSim, everything's free. So how can you explain how the auction actually works? Why people are prepared to pay money for these objects?
Well, mostly, first of all, they're unique. Typically, they're built for this auction, so nobody has it. And second thing is, you support your grid, the thing you live in, and everybody else in it actually. So instead of paying tiers here, people's like buy something they like and know that with their donation, this grid like stays alive.
I think it's a great idea. And then they have this lovely reminder in their own home or their region of the auction, so that they have actually got something for their money in a way.
Exactly.
And of course, it's another way that people can contribute, isn't it? If they don't contribute money, they can contribute an object. Is that right?
Exactly. And this is actually the same for all us admins as well, because we're all unpaid volunteers. So we actually donate our time to keep this grid alive and running.
It's brilliant. And how does it work? Who runs the auction?
The auction is organized by Caro mostly.
Okay.
So she collects all the items, etc., etc. And I'm the lucky chap that gets to try and sell them to you.
Yeah. Now, how do you actually do that, by the way? I mean, you don't have any currency in OSGrid, so is it like a PayPal me sort of thing, or?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Typically,
right.
they just book their money to PayPal. They get the object.
Right.
And am I right in thinking that if somebody has some lindens that they would like to donate, it's possible to donate them in Second Life, that there's an account in Second Life that is connected to OSGrid?
Albert, or our administrator, he has a small region over there that has a donation box.
So even if you, for whatever reason, you don't feel that you can give cash, you can give something in terms of lindens to keep the grid running. That's really nice.
Yep.
So what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen at an auction?
Good question.
Because I've seen some really weird stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
Tough call, right?
What's the weirdest thing I've seen at the auctions? I can't recall anything which is
you probably shouldn't say, actually.
Yeah, and too much. I couldn't possibly answer that.
Typically,
I might get you into trouble.
Typically, it's very nice, unique items which somebody put effort in to make, and well,
that's right.
Everybody has his own skill level, but up to now, I think we don't ever had a no sale, so everything got sold every time.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, well, looking around that one, for example, it's a kind of large art piece, and then ranging down towards an installation, and another thing that's just a little thing.
Yeah, sometimes
And they're
Sometimes
not
you
only objects, are they? They can be
no.
services and things like that too. Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah.
Well, not that service.
Yeah. I remember me getting sold. That's where
Oh.
you're referring to. They didn't cash in. Really.
That happened.
Oh,
That happened to me on. I think
It's not
in
that
second,
interesting.
in Second Life there was a TV show once, and they auctioned me for their kind of virtual date kind of thing. And my partner at the time, she's gone now, Tara. She kept on bidding and bidding ridiculous amounts of lindens so that she got the date with me. She didn't want anybody else.
oh,
She didn't want anybody else to have it. I could see it was
that's so
costing her
sweet.
more and more with every second.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That's
so
very
sweet,
sweet.
though. Very sweet. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment that I remember, I think it was last year, not last year, the year before, that Yuka Godell, her object that she donated was something with particles. It was a particle build, and I remember Caro Ferre telling me that that was the item that made the most money that year in the auction. It was the single most valuable item at the end that was bidded for. And what really fascinated me about that was that Yuka had learned how to make particles in an Inworld class. So the whole thing was kind of circular. It was a circular economy there, because it's so beautiful that it's truly made in Opensim in that case, and a great way to keep OSGrid going, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, people create wonderful things. It always keeps amazing me.
I'll leave that. Right. Well, I think we're nearing that. I was just getting a little promo film we got there, but we showed it before, and it was. It's got a good promo for Opensim generally, but I don't think I'll show it again this week. Actually, I'm looking at the time, and if you haven't been on the show before, you know that after 45 minutes, James is prone to sitting on noisy buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he will sit on a noisy button.
I will.
Usually it's the clocks thing from Pink Floyd. Sometimes he's more polite, but that means actually we're getting sort of towards the end. So I'll actually go around first. James, any further questions you might have for Foxx before we wind down?
No, just a tremendous amount of respect. I've enjoyed OpenSim for a long time, and I like the OS Grid a lot. And it's it's kind of a reference point for me that I appreciate that. And of course, being able to drop in, visit developers, being able to drop in and visit other creators, I really like it. So it's kind of like the parent grid in some ways.
Yeah.
And we are the children that we benefit from.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I must admit, I sort of, since we built this version of the studio here, there is a sort of that sense of belonging, know, to something in the center of the hypergrid, to, put it abstractly. Anything more from you, Thirza?
Well, again, as James said, I mean, immense respect to Foxx, of course, to Ubit, to Dan, to Aussie Envy, to Jim, to Sarah, who I love, to all the admins, past and present, for everything they've done, because it's not easy. It's often a thankless task, I think, because people sometimes come to you when they're irritated or agitated. So thank you for doing everything you do, and thank you for kind of opening the doors to us so that we can understand a little bit more what it all means to you. It's been interesting.
Thank goodness we got Thirza for the roll call there of names. I would never. She remembers it all, which is absolutely wonderful. But yes, indeed, I think it's amazing. It's that there is this sort of focus of a long time place that represents sort of the core, like the place where the Big Bang almost started, sort of thing. So absolutely wonderful. Well, I'd like to thank you, Foxx, both for enlightening us about the grid, from your own perspective, and also showing us a little bit about your own builds and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see you again in the not too distant future.
Very well. Thank you. It was nice to be here.
Yeah. So with that, it is time to wrap. He says, I want an applause from everybody because I got the timing right. Well, within 5 minutes. 8 minutes out, but never mind. We're not that fussy. Okay, so yeah, I got one of them too. Hey, okay. Save me from pressing my button. You know, when the audience actually pops up and does it for you, you don't have to press your button, do you? So that was a welcome surprise. Okay. So my thanks again to Foxx Bode. Thanks, of course, to my co-host Thirza Ember. Thank you, Thirza.
Thanks, Mal.
And thanks, of course, to the knob sitter. No, I mean the sitter. Oh, there's a good one. The knob sitter. He sits on the sound effect.
Oh yeah, watch out. That's
Poor
going to be a
James.
fantasy role. I'm going to play that.
You got a new moniker.
I do.
Now.
And thank you for bringing us together, Mal. This is really valuable, I think.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we love it. We love it. So it's great to do. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to do the normal wrap up, which is to wish you all a very good morning, a very good afternoon, or a good evening, and indeed a good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And we're out of here. Bye for now.